Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Abam. We're continuing in Mishna Berura, Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman Kamaz, Kuf Mem Zayin, Sif Beis. We're learning the laws of Hagbaah, Gellilah. As we mentioned, Me'ikar Hadin, Hagbaah should be given to the one Gadol Shaba'oilen. But nowadays, we even give it to Beinanim. Okay? Fine. One who wants to purchase, to hand the gartel and the mantle to the one doing the Gellilah, meaning the handoff. It's a third kibud. The goylel cannot protest. Even though he bought the Gellilah, he cannot he didn't buy to take the mantle. Or even if the word the Gellilah here is referring to the Magbiah, it's a separate kibud to wrap it or to purchase the right to hand it off. If the minhag is to buy psicha, then the chazan can't say it's my job. It's not his job. It's being sold. If it's being sold, then it's a fair purchase. Vayakam haglila v'chal asher ba lehakoina me'es ha'auctioner. Okay, Sif Gimel. Hagoylo sefer Torah yamidenu keneged hatefer kedei she'mikara yikara hatefer. The one who does Gellilah, he should position the Torah by the stitch, meaning the stitching should be in the middle. In case it rips by the stitch. Now we know Gellilah here refers to the Hagbaah. The question though is, when you actually do what we call Gellilah, do you need to make sure that the stitch is in the middle? I don't know the answer to that. Because the Gemara is talking about what we call Hagbaah. Accordingly, there is no source that when you do the Gellilah, it has to be. In other words, the Magbiah needs to hold it up because he's holding it up in a precarious situation. So if it's uneven, there could be a tear. But that the Goylel should have to turn it in a way where the stitch is in the middle, I don't know if there's a source for that. One time I did a Hagbaah, and the Gabbai said, you have to make sure the stitch is in the middle. And I called him out. I said, Mehechi Teisi. Who says that when you lift it, it has to be in the middle? But who says when you turn it, it has to be in the middle? I don't know that that's the case. I don't know. It could go both ways. Okay, Sif Daled. Hagolo sefer Torah golo mi bachutz uchshu mehadkoi mi b'fnem. Now this is talking about the way the Sfardim do the Hagbaah, that when you do the Hagbaah, you roll it from the outside, and when you wrap it from the inside. What does that mean? The Mishna Berura doesn't explain, but the Ramah explains it. Hagah Perosh, Kisha Sefer Oimei Lefanav, when the Sefer is in front of you, Yia Haksav Neged Panav. The writing should be in front of your face. V'yascha Ligla Mi Bachutz. You should begin to roll it from the outside. So the Ksav should be in front of you, and you should roll it from the outside. V'achar shegamar haglila, and after you finish the Gellilah, yahadei Seif hametbachas mibafnim. You should tighten the end of the mantle from the inside. Shekeshiyavay likrois by, so that when you come to read it, yimtza hidik mibafnim. The adhesion is on the inside. V'lo yitzarach lahapech hasefer Torah. Okay, that means as follows. The way they used to wrap the Sefer Torah is there was a sheet that you wrapped it with. Now, the way you would fasten it, they didn't make a knot, but they would they would insert it into between the two scrolls of the Sefer Torah, so that when you took out the cloth, it took you right to where the Kriyas HaTorah was up to, and you didn't have to flip it backwards, so now and the Sefer Torah is upside down. In other words, if you're going to somehow fasten it where it's closed opposite the underside of the Sefer Torah, so then when you open it, it's going to come out that the Sefer Torah is upside down. This way, when it's fastened sort of tucked away in between the two scrolls. Yeah, you understand what I mean? Mashal Mahadavar Doima. There's something called baseball. They told me once upon a time there's something called baseball. And there was once a guy in the World Series who he hit a ball and it went right between the floor and the wall of the outfield. Now, if it wouldn't have gone there, that team would have won the World Series. But the Malach Hamamuna over the other team came and positioned the ball in between the floor of the stadium and the wall of the outfield. And because of that, they called it a ground rule double, because it got right in between that area. So too, when they wrapped the Sefer Torah, they would wrap it in between the crevice between the two scrolls. So now it's tucked away there. So when they open it up, they open up to the ksav of the Sefer Torah. Okay, now I'm only really explaining the second part of the Rama. Namely, after you finish rolling, you stick the edge of the cloth in the inside. This doesn't really explain what he means. It still doesn't explain Hagoylel Sefer Torah Goylel mi bachutz. You roll it from the outside. I believe what that means is as follows. Okay, now I'm going to explain the first statement of the Mechaber, that when you roll the Sefer Torah, when you do the Hagbaah, you do it from the outside, meaning you're Magbiyah it from the backside of the Sefer Torah in order to show the ksav lifnei kol ha'am va'eda. In other words, when you're goylel, right? I'm now being goylel the Sefer Torah. The way the Sfardim do it is they hold it and they show the ksav to the So I'm doing the Hagbaah, I'm doing it mi bachutz, so that the sees the befnim of the Sefer Torah. So that's what I believe what the Mechaber means. Hagoylel Sefer Torah. This comes from I think the Gemara Megillah. The Berura says Sham Gemara, but he doesn't say which Gemara. I think it's the Gemara in the end of Megillah. That you show the interior of the Sefer Torah to the people. Okay. Venera says Ram the Chozamari Kishe'achad Oisa Klal Gellilah. This is talking about when one guy does a whole Gellilah. Nowadays, that one guy lifts it up and one guy wraps and rolls. Haksav yia neged hamagbia. Then just the opposite. The ksav should be facing the one who lifts it up. The Sfardim do the ksav keneged ha'am. Ashkenazim do the ksav keneged the magbia. V'chei noyagim. That's the minhag. Kihu ikar hagoylel. The ikar goylel is the magbia. V'ha'oiches sefer Torah.
Sefer Torah is just opposite around.
No, they don't. That's my name. You could call. But who said that?
Very often me.
Oh, you said that. So the answer is it's not necessarily true. Only by one of them they do it.
Yes.
There are 3 Sifrei Torah. You do it at night. Out of the 4 Hagbaah Gellilahs, contrary to popular opinion, you only do it one time. And you don't have to do it. But it's brought in the art scroll to do it in an unusual manner. What that unusual manner is, it's not clear. But yes, the way most people do it is one of them, they do the other way around. But 99.9% of the Hagbaahs of the year, you do the way the Ramah says over here, that it's facing the Magbiah. Let's see the Mishnah Berura. Perush Kisha Sefer v'chulu. Hainu Deloy Nite Lefaresh Masha Amru Gellilah Lo Mi B'chutz. Don't make a mistake to explain that which it says. You roll it from the outside. That when you hold the amudim of the Sefer Torah, laharos haksav la'am, to show the ksav to the people, yitzam tseim la'achsa ba'ofen she'acharei negdoi, you should try to position it and hold it in a way that the back of it is opposite him. Umamela be'esh she'yir tzalasas Gellilah, gam ken tia Gellilah rak, and in that case, when you roll it, you're rolling it behind the sefer, ksav neged panav, because the ksav is not opposite you. V'alkin kamash malan. Therefore, the chiddush is deloi chenu. This is not so. This is not so. In other words, you might mistakenly think that when it says Gellilah mi b'chutz, that is, when you're holding the amudim of the Sefer Torah to show the ksav to the people, you should hold it in a way where the back of the Sefer is toward you, and therefore when you want to do Gellilah, the Gellilah is, so to speak, from behind the Sefer Torah. The chiddush is no, deloi kenu. Da'af mitzvah laharis haksav, even though there's a mitzvah to show the ksav to the people, k'de'isam m'sachas soifrim, afilu hachi tzarch liyos haksav neged panav shel oichet Sefer Torah, kain be'es Hagbaah v'chein be'es Gellilah. It needs to be that the writing is opposite the face of the Oiches Sefer Torah while he's holding it and while he's wrapping it. The kivan shu oisek b'Sefer Torah, since he's involved in the Sefer Torah, kavod ha-Torahu, it's the kavod of the Sefer Torah, lios haksav neged panav, that the ksav should be opposite your face. Umasha amra Gellilah mi b'chutz, that which it says you wrap it toward the outside, hainu dehaschalas haGellilah iya mi b'chutz. The beginning of the Gellilah should be toward the outside. Kasha nevar b'siv katan she'achar zeh. So you might make a mistake and think Gellilah mi b'chutz is, since you're holding the Sefer Torah opposite the people, so when you want to do the Gellilah, you would do the Gellilah me'acharav also. So the chiddush is no, that's not correct, because even though you need to show the writing to the Sefer Torah, the ksav needs to be opposite the oiches Sefer Torah during the Hagbaah and the Gellilah. So then what does it mean, Gellilah mi b'chutz? Well, we'll have to see in the next Mishnah Berura. How are you yaschil liglal mi b'chutz? Says Mishnah Berura, Perush tchilas hanachas hamitpachas al Sefer Torah leGellilah yeh mi b'chutz. The beginning of the wrapping of the Sefer Torah should be from the outside. So when you begin to wrap it, you begin to wrap it from the outside. But when you fasten it, you're going to fasten it from the inside. Because the kavod for the Sefer Torah is that the one holding it should always be opposite the ksav. Now how do you fulfill that if you're the Magbiah, the way the Sfardim do it? I'm not sure. Because when the Sfardim do the Hagbaah, they show the ksav to the people. So if they show the ksav to the people, that means the one holding it, he's facing the back of the Sefer Torah. And the Mishnah Berura says that you should not do that.
The Gemara in the Gellilah talks about it a little bit differently. It's talking about Gellilah Sefer Torah. It's talking about the Indian, that you're rolling the Sefer Torah from one to another. And b'chutz means that you have two parts of the Sefer Torah and it's on your lap. You should do the one that's further away, because if you do the one that's close to you, the other one will fall to the floor.
That's how Rashi and Tosfos learn, but the Mechaber doesn't learn that way. The Mechaber learns like the Rif, that it's talking about the Hagbaah and the Gellilah. That's why the Gellilah says leperush harif. Yeah, there are many different perushim in the Gemara. This halacha is not going lefi the classic way to understand that Gemara. It's going lefi the rif. V'yascha liglo perush chilas hanachas hamadfachas al sefer lego liyami bachutz. V'ayim b'machzas hashekesh shematzadei lomer tezeu davka lefi ma shemasik harama. Look in the machzas hashekel. Any svardim here? When the Svardim do the Hagbaah and they show it to the people, the guy holding it, he's facing the backside of the Sefer Torah.
Don't they put it down and turn it around afterwards, or am I imagining that?
I don't know. Okay, v'ayim b'machzas hashekel shematzadei lomer dezel davka lefi ma shematzker amod Meir b'kishabal Hagbaah oisa gam kein Gellilah. The machzas hashekel says this is based on the way the Ramah learns it, that it's talking where the Baal Hagbaah does the Gellilah. V'al ken chashinan shem yaschal Gellilah mitzad pnim yeshlachas chas v'sham shetiba sefer Torah letzad chutz. Therefore, we're worried that if you begin the Gellilah from the inside, the Sefer Torah is going to fall to the outside. As opposed to if it begins from the outside, so this is referring to another explanation in the Gemara. That was the explanation of other Rishonim, that it's talking about when you roll it from the outside so that the outer column doesn't fall, and when you tighten it from the inside. Okay. As opposed to if you start from the outside, it cannot fall to the outside because you're holding the mappa that you began to wrap around it. That one of them lifts it up and one of them rolls it, that you're not concerned that it would fall. The Kivan Shabal Gellilah Amid Lefnei HaSefer Torah, since the Baal Gellilah is standing before the Sefer Torah, Efshar Shatipa Mehera cannot fall quickly, V'lo Yargash, without you realizing. So Efshar Dem Yirtza Yuchal Haschal L'Goyla Mitzad Pnim. It's possible that if you want, you could begin to roll it from the inside. V'chein Min Agenu She'ein Makpidim Ezeh. If one guy is Magbi and one guy is Goylel, where there's no concern really that it might fall, because since the Baal Gellilah is standing opposite the Sefer Torah, it could be you could begin to be Goylel Mitzad Pnim. Okay, we're going to hold it over here. We're going to continue tomorrow, but there seems to be some procedures that they had that we do a little bit differently. Okay. I will hold over here.
Recording stopped.